Okay, good morning, all the students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Gaurish, you are there today. Very good. You have followed the previous classes because you were not there online.
Okay, ma'am.
You followed the classes?
Ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, let me present the screen to you. Yes. Tell me if you can see this presentation. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay. So in yesterday's class, while designing a learning system, what are our design choices? In what way we propose to train? Means we plan to train a system. What type of training experience we try to provide a system, whether it is a direct feedback or indirect feedback, and how the steps to be taken by the system have to be decided in the form of a target function, because we can't give instructions to machine directly in a normal language to go in this direction or play in this direction like we teach a small child, or no, to person to whom we are teaching how to play chess or checkers. We can't just teach them in some normal language, but machine can't understand high level language, right? So we try to mathematically model it into the form of a target function, right? That is why in the next step, after providing the training after the task of choosing how to provide the training experience, we are trying to choose the target function, the mathematical representation of the instructions to be given to the machine in order to play some game. Okay, now choosing a representation for the target function is also important. Why? Because we have to give the system training examples, because the system learns from its previous experiences, because the system learns from the historical data. You need to choose some representation for the target function so that it will be in more generic terms. It will be in common terms which can be understandable by the machine, as well as it should be able to generalize it to next coming up data. In this case, next coming up games, it should be able to play well by making use of this target function, right? And to choose a function approximation algorithm. Why do we need this function approximation algorithm? If you formulate it in mathematical terms, is it not enough? Why do you need a function approximation algorithm? You need that algorithm in order to reduce the prediction error. You need to follow certain steps. You need to follow certain methodology in order to reduce the prediction error. In this case, what is a prediction? From every legal board state of the checkers game or the chess game, it has to move on to the next state, which will take that particular program towards winning the game, right? In order to win the game, at each step it has to take the best move, it has to take the optimal move, right? So in order to choose that methodology and reduce the prediction error means taking best steps to win the game, do not lose the game. If it loses the game, might be it has made some prediction errors while taking the next steps. But in order to win the game, what are the sequence of optimal steps that have to be taken? Each time, how is that prediction error reduced? By following certain steps or by following some function approximation algorithms. This function approximation algorithm can be a linear equation like y equal to ax plus b, or it can be a polynomial equation like y equal to ax square plus bx plus c. You remember all this? Linear equation means it contains only one parameter with linear degree. It doesn't have any exponential terms. But in this case, in polynomial case, you have exponential terms, means x affects y exponentially, means only if x square term increases, then y will have that impact rather than x when associated with this weight A. In this case, the weight is B and it is linearly affecting this outcome variable y. Again and again we'll come across all these terms. Just have a preliminary idea, that is enough for now. Okay, in a linear equation you will not have any exponential terms. It is just represented as y equal to ax plus b. In this case, b is the error, a is the weight. Got it? And in this case, y equal to ax square plus bx plus c. X square, x are the same parameters, but they its exponential variance means its exponential change in its data, in its value, will affect this y. That is why we are giving ax square. Here a is the weight associated with x square and b is the weight associated with x and c is the error term. Got it now? This is how you need to choose different algorithms which better explains the behavior of the historical data that would help the machine in order to take proper decisions in making its next task, in predicting its task or excelling at its task. In this case, taking the best next move. Got it? So finally, we'll go to the final design, that is, which incorporates all these steps. How you are arriving at a final design. You started with a computer program to train a machine, chosen the target function for its steps to be taken, and the general representation of the target function, ideal target function, in order to make good predictions. And you have also chosen an algorithm to reduce the prediction error, and finally how you are arriving at a final design. Okay, that you are going to see now. For that, we have crossed all these steps, right? Choosing a training experience, choosing the target function, choosing a representation for the target function. What is the target function we have chosen? For every move v from a legal board state to any real number space. From that, you will choose the best move. You have lots of moves to be made from a particular board state in any direction. Legal move means allowed moves, right? But from that, you will select the best move. Got it? That is your target function. Now, you are choosing a target function representation also in the form of a linear equation, that is v hat equal to x naught plus w naught plus w1 x1 plus w2 x2 and so on w6 x6, right? This is the representation of your target function. Now your machine learns from all these target functions. It learns from the previous games steps made, and it will optimize these weights w0, w1, w2, w up to w6 in order to make this estimation of the target function as best as possible, so that it reduces the error between v and v hat, v and estimation of v, so that when this error is less, we say that the machine is performing its best. So this difference is called as error in prediction. This may be positive or negative. That is why we are adding them as sum squared error. So our final objective is to reduce this sum squared error. For that, you are taking a algorithm called as least mean squares, okay, which helps the machine to reduce the error in prediction as much as possible. How it can reduce the error? By choosing the best weights for the parameters. Each time it makes some prediction and checks the final outcome, it will try to optimize its weights. It will try to adjust its weights in order to reduce the estimation of this error in the estimation of this v hat. so that it goes towards this ideal function V, right? So all these we have seen in the previous session. You are able to recollect? So all these concepts we have gone through in the previous class. Let us come directly to adjusting the weights. Now, why do the system have to adjust the weights? Why is it required? Remember, it is estimating the target function, and that estimation may not be as good as the ideal target function. This estimation we had tends to achieve this ideal target function V's accuracy. But it is not possible, but it tries to achieve. How it tries to achieve is by adjusting the weights and giving those as training examples for the next game. And in the next game, again, it will try to learn from that particular game, adjust its weights, and again uses those training examples in the next game. Means it is learning by itself from its previous games. Correct? And it is trying to reduce this prediction error so that it will make best predictions. Okay, now we have to specify the learning algorithm for choosing the weights Wi to best fit the set of training examples B and V train B. So B is the legal board state, and in order to move from that board state to the next board state, it needs training from the training examples V train B. Right? Now, one approach is to define the best hypothesis or set of weights. What is our hypothesis now? To get the best set of weights. Okay? To give the best quotients for all the board states x1, x2, x3 and so on up to x6, you associate or you add some weights to it. Right? What are those weights? The rate at which this x1 will influence the estimation of V hat. That is the next step to be taken. With what rate x2 influences the decision to take the next move. At what rate x3 will influence the decision of taking the next step. Right? Those are called as the weights W1, W2, W3. You do not worry, you need not assign these weights. The system will learn from the previous data at what rate each of these parameters are influencing the decision of taking the next move. With that experience, it will assess these weights W1 through W6. Got it? Now, these weights are not perfect in the first stage. These weights have to be adjusted iteratively. Okay, so once this game is completed with this sequence of moves, this outcome is obtained, means the game is won or lost. Based on that, it will check what type of errors it has made on the way to reach the final outcome, whether winning the game or losing the game. Now, in that process, it would have assigned some weights, right, to the training examples. Now, in the next game, it will try to adjust those weights in order to move towards winning the game by taking optimal moves. So every optimal move is your V hat. That is estimation of the move. It may not be as good as the ideal function V, ideal target function V, but it is trying to achieve that accuracy, right? That is why it is trying to readjust its weights again and again, again and again. Got it? That is at some place, now those weights will start converging. Means, I said this again, that in the previous session also, that convergence means no longer the weights will vary. Iteratively, it will try to adjust the weights. After some time, the weights can no longer be adjusted. Okay, that is the final stage. Means it says that that is the best fit, best possible fit you have given to your data, right? You can no longer improve the accuracy of the machine after that. So that is the final state of weights that has been reached, which gives the best accuracy for that particular machine, for that particular program, and no longer it can improve. Okay, that is the point of convergence. That is the point where the weights doesn't change any longer. That is the point of best fit to the data. That algorithm's best fit to the data means that equation hereafter explains that what would be the next best move for that particular legal board state. Means there is an equation now, clear equation now. You are given the values of x1, x2, x3 and so on up to x6. You can easily calculate what will be the next best move. Or the machine. Whenever I say you just understand it in terms of machine. Okay, so the machine will calculate the next best move by taking this generalized equation. Do you remember in yesterday's class I have told that when a student, if you want to assess the performance of a student based on his time spent in studying, W0. Okay, time spent in studying. Now this is the time spent in studying. If that value is given and W1, W0 data is already available to you because the machine has learned from the previous student's data. Okay, now when you are given the time spent on studying about a student, you will be able to immediately predict his performance. I'm telling estimate his performance, not accurately tell what would be his performance, but you can predict with some accuracy, right? That is the equation which explains the best fit for the historic student data given to you and can generalize to future students data. Can easily predict what would be the performance of a student if his time spent in studying is given in the future, right? So this equation is learned from the historic data and it is able to generalize for the future data. In this case, in this checkers or chess game case, this is the ideal target function or an equation which explains the behavior of that particular game in that current board state, and it will easily guess the next move. Okay, so this is our main equation that has to be remembered. We have to reduce the error in the prediction, and it should be as close to the training examples that are already recorded. Now you have some training examples and you're making predictions on that by not just seeing the outcome. Now what prediction you made and what were the actual values, that error has to be minimized. Okay, and that you're summing up all those errors, you're summing up, and that value have to be minimized. That is why we call it as sum squared errors. The errors in the predictions have to be squared and added up, and that result have to be as less as possible. Okay, that is your E. Means you are reducing that E. You're trying to minimize that E. Okay, that is what I wrote here. Minimizing the sum of squared errors is equivalent to finding the most probable hypothesis given the observed data. Got it? Now, we require an algorithm that will incrementally refine the weights as new training examples become available, and that will be robust to errors in these estimated training values. Okay, so we are trying to adjust the weights as much as possible so that it will make as less prediction error as possible. Okay, for that we have taken the LMS training rule, that is least mean squares algorithm, and for each observed training example, it adjusts the weights a small amount in the direction that reduces the error on this training example. And yesterday I have explained you what is stochastic gradient descent. Whenever a person wants to descend a mountain to reach the bottom of the mountain, at each step he will try to find out in all directions which direction he has to move, so that that will take him towards the bottom of the hill. What is the best move he can make? Right? So the best move he can make from that particular point where he is standing is where the steepness is very high, so that he will go towards the bottom of the mountain. And also remember, when he is descending the mountain, initially he'll take larger steps, means his learning rate will be larger. But later, when he is coming towards the bottom of the hill, if he takes larger steps, he may overshoot, means he may cross his destination without his knowledge. That is why while he is reaching the bottom of the hill, he'll try to take smaller and smaller steps in order to reach his destination, that is bottom of the hill, in an optimal way, so that he exactly reaches the point where he is intended to reach, where he has to reach. Okay, so initially the learning rate is high, but as he comes towards his destination, the learning rate will be slower in order to meet the destination point accurately. Means what he is trying to do is, he is trying to reduce his error in estimation of his direction of move. And finally, he is reaching his destination, that is bottom of the hill. This is called as stochastic gradient descent. Why we are calling it as stochastic means he doesn't know the exact path to be followed. He has to follow the path by taking some random decision. It is a random process, but he is taking that decision in an optimal way. Okay, because it is a random process, it is called as stochastic gradient descent search. Right? Now, for each observed training example, the machine tries to adjust the weights a small amount in the direction. In which direction? In this machine's case, to reduce the error on this training example. Training example's value is 1 and the prediction error is somewhere, then lot of prediction error occurs. But if it is able to meet this training example, as close to this training example as possible, if the prediction can be made, then we are trying to reduce that prediction error. Now, how to reduce that prediction is by adjusting the weights. Okay. So how this adjustment of weights is done, I'll explain you. Listen carefully here. The LMS algorithm is defined as follows. The least mean squares algorithm. Weight update rule is like this. For each training example B, and V train of B means for every legal board state, what training example it has in order to take the next optimal move. Now for that, use the current weights to calculate the next move, that is V hat B. Now after taking that move, for each weight Wi, update it as Wi should be updated as Wi plus new. I'll tell you what is this. New, this symbol, you remember this in your school days you have used, right? This symbol is called as new. New V train of B minus estimation of B means what exactly the training example provides, whether that value is too far from the prediction or very close to the prediction. If it is close to the prediction accuracy is high. If it is very far from the prediction, means there is a lot of difference between the training value and the estimated value, then we say the prediction error is very high. Okay, now we are trying to reduce this prediction error by adjusting the weights. How we are doing this? See here clearly, and this new symbol tells us about the learning rate. Learning rate at which the machine learns in order to reduce the prediction error and adjust the weights. Listen carefully, I am repeating again. Nu is called the learning rate in order to reduce the prediction error. In what way it is? Optimizing its weights. how it is learning to optimize the weights in order to reduce the prediction error. Okay, that is called as learning rate. Now remember, initially the weights will be adjusted a lot because the training error, the prediction error is high. But as you optimize your weights, as you keep on reaching the accuracy, the weight adjustments will not be too high. Little adjustments will happen. Okay, that means the learning rate will start coming down. You remember when I spoke about the man descending a hill, initially he'll take larger steps. Learning rate is high. But as he comes towards the bottom of the hill, towards his point of destination, his learning rate has to be reduced in order to reach his destination without missing or deviating from his way. Got it? In the same way, initially, because the prediction error will be very high, the weights have to be adjusted a lot. But as you keep on reaching some accurate point, as you keep on increasing the accuracy in prediction, the weight adjustments have to come down. Initially, lot of adjustments used to happen. Now, very little adjustments will happen. Did you observe here? The learning rate is reducing, reducing. Got it? And can you tell me what is happening with this particular term? You're trying to reduce the prediction error, correct? Now, consider there is no error in prediction. The estimation and the actual training data are the same. Means this entire value is 0. Means this entire term will be 0. Now what did you notice from here? What did you notice from this scenario? If the accuracy is 100%, there is no prediction error, then weight need not be adjusted because this entire second term will be 0. I'm repeating again. When there is no prediction error, means V train of B minus V hat B. This entire term will become 0, right? There is no difference. Both are same. It is 100% accurate. Prediction is 100% accurate. Means that entire term will become 0. When that entire term becomes 0, after this plus all this term, this entire term will become 0. Now Wi will change. No, it will not change, right? So whenever there is no prediction error, you need not adjust the weights because the machine had reached its best. Got it? Now, if the estimation is very low, tell me what will happen. Can any student tell me what will happen when the when the estimation, that is V hat B, is very low? V train of B will increase. Now, as V train of B increases and estimation is very low, the difference is very high. When this difference is very high, then that weight has to be reduced. Got it? Means when the prediction error is very high, the weight have to be reduced. If the prediction error is very low, the weight have to be increased. Okay, so there should be a balance between these two, so that finally when the prediction error starts reaching 0, no more weight adjustments have to be done. Okay, so you will arrive at an equation. V hat of B equal to W naught plus W1 x1 plus W2 x2 and so on up to W6 x6. This is your ideal target function. Now weights need not be adjusted anymore because you reached the point where the prediction error is the minimum. Okay, that is what is explained by this LMS algorithm. Now, how do we arrive at the final design? We have chosen what type of training experience we provide. We have chosen the target function. We have chosen the representation to the target function. And finally, what algorithm we choose for function approximation. Okay, so what is our final step? arriving at a final design. Now, how do we describe this final design? How do we give a bird's eye view of this entire design process? It can be described by following program modules that represent the central components in many learning systems. Not only this learning system, in many learning systems, these are the central components you have. Okay, now you're designing a computer program to play the game of chess. Now you may design a computer program to predict weather, forecast the weather for next 10 days. Or you're designing a computer program to assess the student performance. Or you're designing a computer program to predict whether a patient will acquire, a person will acquire a heart disease or not based on his lifestyle parameters. What you're doing is generally designing a program to make the machine learn from previous data to predict some future data points. For all these learning systems, these are the central components. You have performance system, you have a critic component, the generalizer component, and the experiment generator. So how you can understand all these? This is better depicted by this figure. Okay, so every experiment and every performance system will receive the new problem instance. Okay, in this chess playing game, what is the problem instance? Play a new game, right? Now, what is the output given by this performance system? New game that is played, which will have sequence of moves. Okay, now this critic module will take this performance systems output, that is the solution trace or the game history. Game history is nothing but sequence of moves, right? Now this solution trace is given to the critic as input, and what does this critic do? It will learn from the game sequences of previous games, and it will generate training examples for which for what these training examples are required? For the machine to learn from its previous experiences, for the machine to learn from its historic games that it has played, means old games that it has played. Okay, so this critic will take the game's sequence of moves and it will generate training examples. B1, B train of B1, B2, B train of B2, means for board state B1, this is the sequence of these are the moves that can be provided. For board state B2, these are the moves that can be provided, right? This is given as output by the critic module. Now, these training examples are taken as input to the generalizer. This generalizer component learns from these training examples and tries to generalize for the future examples. Now, in this case, what is the future example? It is trying to learn a target function by adjusting its weights so that it will play more optimally in the next game. Okay, so it is taking the training examples, learning from the training examples, and trying to generalize its games in the next stages. Now, if you take the student data, it is trying to learn from the old students' behavior and it is trying to generalize it to the new students' behavior so that it can predict their performance. Okay, so generalizer will take the training examples, learn from the training examples, and it will try to learn a hypothesis to adjust the weights of that target function so that that target function is the best fit for any future data. What is the target function here? You remember? Estimation of V hat of B equal to W naught plus W1 x1 plus W2 x2 and so on up to W6 x6. This is the target function learned from the hypothesis, that is the best weights It again iterates. In the next game, it adjusts the weights. In next game, it adjusts the weights, so that it will come to a general equation which will better explain all the previous games history. Okay, so this generalizer will output the hypothesis or the weights that are adjusted, and this is again given as input to the experiment generator. Now experiment generator has the best target function. Now taking help of that, it will generate again a new game. Now this new game again will be the initial board state. Pawns will be on this side, black pawns will be on this side, white pawns will be on the other side, and this new game instance is given to the performance system again. Again, this performance system starts providing solution traces or sequence of moves, and that is again given to the critic, and critic will generate the training examples. Generalizer will learn from the training examples, provides the hypothesis by adjusting the weights, and based on those weights, again the experiment generator will start producing new game instances. This is a cyclic process. It goes on again and again, so that the machine can arrive at a stage that it can play any type of game with the opponent, even with the system, or let it be with a human expert. Got it? So this experiment generator sometimes can even generate not only the initial board states, but also some advanced board states. Means at a particular board state, very crucial board state, in what direction, if it takes an optimal move, can it win the game? Okay, that particular board state, it will try to explore. In that case, if it wants to explore an advanced and critical board state, very important board state, in that case also, it will pose that, or it will give that particular board state for the performance system to explore and optimize. Okay, this is an iterative process. You can see from the diagram, it is a cyclic process. It is an iterative process which goes on again and again in order to improve the learning of the machine. Right? That is what even a student is doing, right? They try to learn from the teacher, they learn on their own, and again get back to the teacher and get some extra inputs. Again, they refine their learning. It happens like that with the machine also. Now, what is the summary of choices in designing the checkers learning game, learning program? Let us see here. What is the time, students? Students, what is it?
9:17, ma'am.
9:17. Okay, we have sufficient time. Let us complete this today. Now, let us summarize the design choices we have made in designing the checkers game or chess game. Okay, initially how we started: determine type of training experience. We are deciding the type of training experience, how it is deriving the training experience, whether you are making the machine play games against a human expert, or that is a direct feedback, and whether you're providing the training experience by making the machine play against itself, or whether you're providing a pre-fed data of sequence of moves for each board state, so that it will arrive at an outcome, whether winning the game or losing the game. That is table of correct moves. Or sometimes you can provide the rules to move from one board state to another board state. Lot of choices are there, but in this particular scenario, in our module, we have taken this design choice. This path we have taken. We haven't taken inputs from the expert, or we didn't provide a table of correct moves. We have taken experience provided by the machine by playing against itself. Okay, so we came to the next step. What is the next step? Determine the target function. How you are determining this target function? By either taking the board, making a move, or board having a value. Means board having different moves as choice, that is one target function, or board having different values to take a choice, that is one target function. What is the target function we have selected? We have taken a move V from a board state to a value provided by the real numbers. which is a good maximum value we have, that is the optimal move. That is how we made the machine understand in order to proceed from one board state to another board state. But that is not the only choice you have. You have lots of choices while designing a learning system. But which one you take is always the machine learning expert's decision. Okay, so in this case, in our lesson, in our module, we have taken board to value. Okay, the move should be from a legal board state to a real number set where we can choose the optimal move. Now determine the representation of learned function. What is your next step is to choose some representation for the target function. Now what type of function we have chosen? A linear function with 6 features we have chosen. You remember x1, x2, x3 and so on up to x6. And we have chosen that as a linear function, not as a polynomial function. If at all our design choice is a polynomial function, we might have our equation might have been like this: w naught plus w1 x1 to the power of 6 plus w2 x2 to the power of 5 plus w3 x3 to the power of 4 and so on. This would have been our target function. But we kept it as simple as possible in order to make a beginner understand. In order to make the student understand, we kept it as a linear function of 6 features. We have considered only 6 features, remember. But we may consider 10 features also. We can take into consideration other kinds of board states also. Okay, so that it can increase to 10 features or 12 features. But for simplicity, in order to just minimize our description or understanding at the beginning, we have taken just 6 features, and it is a linear equation, not a polynomial equation like this. And sometimes it may be usage of artificial neural networks also. You can take the choice of input layers, hidden layers, output layers, and still make the machine learn. Remember, there is a game called as Blackgammon. Now, that gammon game, that machine learned to play very optimally, and it is also winning games against human experts. And how did it reach that much expertise? How did it gain that much skill? By learning from the algorithm implemented by neural networks, artificial neural networks. Means it learned a lot by using some complex networks, so that it can challenge any type of move made by the opponent, right? That skill is achieved by selecting a very complex algorithm. But in our case, we have taken a very simple algorithm just to understand, that is linear function of 6 features. Okay, now finally you determine the learning algorithm. Because you have selected a linear function, we have chosen that LMS would be the best choice to reduce the mean squares, least mean squares. Okay, again in that we have taken gradient descent option. Means each time you are trying to reduce the prediction error by adjusting the weights. Okay, so also you can take it as a linear programming task and go for linear regression, or go for multilinear regression, or you can go for logistic regression. Lots of algorithms are available, but we have selected only least mean squares method in this case and arrived at a final design. Now, what did you understand from this? There are lots of design choices for the machine learning expert to make a machine learn. But he has to select a path which would be the best suit for that particular data set, for that particular problem area, for that particular domain. Got it? This is how we arrived at a final design. In the next class, let's see what are the perspectives and issues in machine learning. And also, I would like to introduce you to the concept of learning and how a concept learning task will look like. Right? Now, can anybody say what is a hypothesis? in this case, in this game of, in this case of playing checkers? Students, what hypothesis did we formulate in this game of playing checkers or chess? What is the hypothesis? What is our objective?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Hypothesis is like a candidate model, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Which is used to target some function. So mapping or for input or output for
Okay.
those things.
Okay, so the you have almost explained it, but hypothesis is like a statement we make or formulating a particular equation by adjusting the weights in our case. Okay, we are trying to adjust the weights so that the prediction accuracy will come down. Got it?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, Sarfaraz. Okay, now what is W naught? Though I have asked this question in the previous class, can anybody quickly answer? What is W naught? Huh? Error. W naught is the error. What error? What error? Error in the prediction. Error associated with the prediction. That error has to be minimized. How is it minimized? By adjusting the weights. That is our hypothesis. Okay, all these terms are interrelated. Okay, do you have any doubt so far, students? Because we are going to the next chapter now. That is a newer concept than what we have learned so far. I just want you to clear all your doubts still here so that we can proceed further without any doubts in mind.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in LML algorithm,
LMS.
if LMS algorithm, if estimation value or target value function is any one of the value is null values, in that case, what happens, ma'am?
It will not be null because you always make some estimation, right? Whenever you want to say make a next move from a legal board state, you have to estimate in what direction it has to be moved. You can't stay in that particular legal board state without moving further, right? You have any board state have to be moved to a next board state. So always an estimation will be there. It will not be null anytime.
Okay, thank you.
But what is the estimation you make that should be as near to the previous games played? If that is not near to the training example, then it will make prediction error. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other doubts, students? Okay, we'll meet in the next class. You can join for your next session. Bye.